I should warn you, if you look up Josh Goldberg, there are 3 Josh Goldbergs with good SEO. One is me-ish, another is a spiritual leader, and the third is a domestic terrorist from Florida. I'm not that one. I don't want to talk about Florida. I want to talk to you instead about nostalgia. Nostalgia is a very powerful emotion, and I get it a lot. When I was a kid, I used to play a lot of Game Boy. Anyone here play Game Boys? Ooh, what a good amount of hands. There's a great quote from Don Draper in the show Mad Men that I have to read off my laptop, that it's delicate but potent. In Greek, nostalgia literally means the pain from an old wound. It's a twinge in your heart, far more powerful than memory alone. It lets us travel the way a child travels, around and around, and back home again, to a place we know we are loved. Isn't that cute? This is my dorm from 3rd year, or as we say in America, junior year of university. I did not think I would be a very successful software developer. I did not do very well for roughly the first half to 2/3 of university. Most of my classmates seemed to be very far ahead of me, and I was very stressed about this, as you might imagine. So I decided that I needed to do some kind of project to A, give myself the experience I would need as a software developer to prove that I am not a buffoon, I will do something, and B, show everyone else, look at this experience, look at what I made. And what platform did I choose to make this rich, interactive experience that'll show off how cool I am? The web! Yay, the web! I made a game based off of my nostalgia because I used to play Mario a lot when I was a kid, and I wanted to recapture that feeling you get. Some of you may or may not have experienced this, where you boot up that old console and it's the same audio from when you were a kid, that same little sound that used to play. The project was called Full Screen Mario. It's still online, but please don't post about the direct link because Nintendo keeps sending me takedown notices. Could we play the sound from my laptop? Anyone hear that? Oh, you're not even looking at what's on my screen. This is embarrassing. What the hell? Where is this window? Oh no, tech difficulties. There we go. Okay. God dang it. Please hold. Oh no. My tech demo's not working. Ah! What a nightmare. Can you imagine going on stage and everything breaking in this way? What a nightmare. Well, that's what the game was. We're going to skip that part. What? We can get nostalgia just from this screenshot. Look at that. Remember those little Goombas flying at you? That's a good time. Good time. That's a screenshot. And honestly, fun fact, games aren't that complex on the inside, conceptually at least. Modern games have a lot going on, but older games, a lot of them are not that much code. And the web gives you the APIs you need to do amazing things in not that much code. This is roughly the pseudocode of how you might implement a rudimentary game engine in JavaScript and the DOM. You create what's called a canvas, which is an HTML element that's now built into browsers. You get the context for 2D rendering. You create an array of actors. An actor would be a brick, a block, a Goomba, Mario, whatever. And then on every tick, every 16 milliseconds, 60 FPS, you filled the background blue. That's the Mario blue. You loop over your actors, and for each actor, you move it in whatever its velocity, its motion is, and then you draw it onto the screen. That's it. Beautiful. I think the web is great. I am perpetually impressed with how much cool stuff you can do on the web. And Full Screen Mario in particular took advantage of 2 awesome properties of the web that I want to dive into today with you. For starters, this blows my mind still, just from a security perspective, let alone user experience. Browsers enable safe execution of arbitrary code on user machines within seconds. Can you imagine time traveling back to 1980 and telling someone that I'm just going to execute something written in a language that looks like JavaScript on your computer for you if you just visit some URL or click some link? That's absurd. And I'm really going to try harder on this demo here, because I use this to my advantage with Full Screen Mario. It meant that people could very easily just quickly play the game. They get that nostalgia. And one of the points that really worked with Full Screen Mario was that it immediately played that everything is broken. It immediately played that theme song. There it is. Yes, this is what I was trying to show you earlier. Yes! Oh, damn it. All right. Because you could go to a website. Let's open Safari. Let's open Google Chrome. There we go. Hi.Joshua Goldberg. You could go to a website. I keep forgetting I'm in Europe and you have cookie banners. You could go to a website and immediately play videos. Does anyone here remember Rickrolling? Yes. I have talked to multiple people today who didn't. I don't know what this loading thing is. Probably a cookie banner. But back in the day, you used to be able to just go to people's computers and play video for them without user interaction. What a nightmare. Can you imagine? As I'm getting the slides back. So, fun fact actually, if you go to hi.joshuakgoldberg.com, that is the most aggressive Rickroll, which, for those who haven't experienced it, is the act of sending someone a link that seems legit, but when you click it, it's actually Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up music video. That's the most aggressive Rickroll one can do on the web today, which is to place a button, because nowadays web browsers are smart. If you want to play audio to people, you have to let them interact with the page first. And fun fact, if you keep visiting a page, it will eventually get access to play audio. So if you just keep visiting that page, eventually it'll happen. But yeah, Full Screen Mario was taken down by Nintendo. It went viral in October of 2013, and November of 2013 it was taken down. Got 2.68 million unique viewers, visitors, very proud of that. I'm now low-key on the side working on full-screen Pokemon. It is what it sounds like. If you're interested, come join me. I haven't committed in like a year or two, but it's a cool project. And part of why I'm working on this stuff, why I still think this is fascinating, is that the web browser was never designed for playing video games. It was designed as a document exchange format. We didn't even have CSS styling for a long number of years until people eventually caved because people wanted styling. And the web is honestly fantastic. It is one of the richest places to work in, and it is growing at a rate never before seen in human technology. The amount of stuff you can do in the web browser today boggles the mind. Things that 10 years ago even would have taken you millions of euros in investments, entire teams of developers working for a year or more, you can now do in a hackathon project over a weekend. And just as a quick little run through of some of the most zany things, we have all seen 3D game engines implemented in browsers. We've seen entire development environments like StackBlitz in the browser. I saw a state machine in a browser, you'll see it tomorrow. There was video streaming like Netflix, crypto mining, which I'm not super happy about that being in the browser, but whatever. Did someone just woo? Graphics processing, Photoshop was mentioned. You can just run Photoshop in the browser. They got that to work. And one final, I'm sure this is going to go well, demo I want to show you is, I just on a whim re-implemented one of my friend's side projects called Karaoke Nights. It is a it is a 3D karaoke experience in the browser, audio and video. I'm sure that's going to go well. They told me that the internet would allow it, and it seems it's not. So if you can, here Ashley, if you can just, oh no, I played from current slide, or start. One moment, sorry. This is one of the sloppier talks I've given. So if you could go to this URL on your phone or laptop, I'm genuinely curious if this will work on your machines. What I wanted to do was set up a virtual room, all in the browser for everyone. I'll show the tech stack a bit later, but the general idea is it's a 3D environment you can run around in, and if you happen to have a VR headset, does anyone have a VR headset on them? You can view it in VR. bit.ly/wayway2023. It's working? That's horrifying to me. Okay, let's do this. Yes. All right. Get on the screen there. bit.ly way 2023. No, you people DDoSed me. I didn't know that was a thing. Well, I'll just show you the local demo. Never mind. All right. So it's a 3D environment you can walk around in, and there we go. Does anyone here see the movie Encanto? I'm the strong one. I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is. I move mountains. I move churches. And I glow because I know what my worth is. Diamonds and platinum. Oop. That's okay. I'm going to quit this now while I'm ahead. This is the third time I've given this talk, and it goes horribly wrong every single time. There's an ngrok thing or whatever. It's fine. But it just blows my mind that you can do something like this in the browser. And there are maybe a few hundred lines of code in total on each of the client and server. The entire source code for this is on GitHub. It's linked in my slide notes. The whole thing is open source, and it builds together, or pieces together, several libraries that just work out of the box, which is also god dang it, mind-blowing to me. All right. I want to also give a quick shout out to the Codedex.io team. That's the team that originally made that. The reason why they made that app, Karaoke Night, was during COVID, they wanted to give each other a fun experience they could do remotely. And I've heard stories of a few teams enjoying a karaoke night together. But anyway, let's talk about tech a little bit. The way that this works was started with Next.js. Anyone here use Next.js? Heard of Next.js? A few more? It's a great React framework. And on the server, for the API, I used Koa. Anyone use Koa here? Yeah. Anyone use Express? Yeah. Express was like the classic Node.js server. The Express teams, some of them went off and made Koa. It's like a newer, cooler Express. And in order to real-time connect between the two of you, there's a wonderful library called Socket.io, which of course I used TypeScript for data type safety, that allows real-time communication between the two. Fun fact, Node.js is about to have real WebSocket support. Very exciting. I used TS Node so I could write my source files in TypeScript and run them somewhat directly in Node. I used A-Frame, which is this library that allows you to declare HTML elements, which then get rendered as those 3D objects. That obnoxious-looking circle as the head thing, that's an A-Frame element. I used networked A-Frame, which is a library that allows, based on WebSockets, different computers to talk to each other about their A-frame elements. It's a ragtag group of anti-hero protagonists that all work together to make something awesome. And this brings us to the sad part of my talk, which is that the web can hurt sometime. That was a pain in the butt to get through. That's a lot of libraries. And in fact, most of them broke in some way. For example, 10 minutes ago. Also, React and A-Frame don't work in the same style of primitives. React is declarative UI, whereas A-Frame is a different kind of declarative UI, and it doesn't update in real time, so they don't communicate well. WebSockets and React have no native bindings. There's no canonical way to do WebSockets in React. WebSockets are also not yet supported directly in Next.js as of when I last looked, which, to be fair, was a year ago. WebVR got renamed to WebXR while I was implementing that. That was very annoying. And all this is because the web platform is growing rapidly and changing. And the faster a platform is growing and changing and improving, the more painful it can be. We just saw a talk showing all these zany things you could do to improve performance, because back in the day we did it one way, and then we learned the hard way, well, maybe you don't ship the entire Moment.js library to your users. The faster a platform is growing, in many ways, the more painful it is to use. Lovely. But also, you can somewhat see things in the reverse. I'm generalizing here. The more painful a platform's growth, the more its constant innovation and changes are impacting you, the faster it is improving, right? Sometimes. So I want to quickly run through some of the awesome ways that I'm really excited about the web, things that directly improved while working on this. Who here used CoffeeScript back in the day? Almost no one. TypeScript? Almost everyone. Yes. JavaScript is getting better. JavaScript is getting better. Amazing. We have new language versions. We have ES 2015, 16, 17, and so on. We have new tools that transpile faster and faster. Babel is, well, it's fast, but it's not fast enough, so we use SWC and ESBuild. We have all sorts of wacky things. Express is old. It's got weights to it. It's reliable, it's good, but it's old. So then they made Koa. Now there's this new thing, Fastify, which is really nice, would recommend. The way we deploy web applications is changing. It used to be you had your own servers. Does anyone remember when Microsoft just started saying cloud for everything? To the cloud! It was a whole advertising line. The cloud! Now we are on the edge. To the edge. That's legitimately good. For many use cases, the edge is better. It's closer to our users. It allows us to serve very quick, sub-second, even single-digit millisecond responses. And even the edge is changing. Used to be you could run an entire, well, small JavaScript application on the edge, but that's all you could run. If you wanted a database, you talked to somewhere else. Now, we have things like Cloudflare durable objects. Different service platforms and providers have different ones. So if you, let's say, want to create an abstraction layer on top of WebSockets to make it easier for folks to communicate stateful machines to each other, you could do so, which is what the PartyKit company does. And the way we write and package and bundle React apps that get deployed to the edge changes as well. It used to be, does anyone remember Create React App? Almost no one? Yeah, some. Create React App is like old, like we don't use that anymore, we use Next.js. But the way we use Next.js is, well, we don't use Pages anymore, we use Aptor, or we've switched to Remix or Astro. And these are great. It's painful having to learn all these new things. It's painful that we've just constantly changed. But I think there's a lot of hope for the future. I think that all those changes have brought us a lot of goodness. And now you're going to hear about what I think those goodnesses are. For starters, we've really learned how to do things on the front end. I'm going too fast. I'm going to take a drink of water. We've learned how to do the primitives in the front end. Sorry for that ASMR. We've learned how to set things up like hooks. When I first started drafting this talk, hooks were the latest rage. React hooks, then solid things. Now we have runes and svelte and all these different equivalents, ways that we're innovating on how to declare stateful UIs that change and morph over time. We've got components, as popularized by React and similar. We have context and other ways of sharing data. On the back end, we have innovation. We have things like relational data, endpoints, caching. We've started to really learn how to build these things in ways that are great for users. It used to be you set up a REST API, a REST endpoint, and you could get and post and put, and no one remembered the difference between post and put. Who remembers the difference between post and put? 7 smug hands look at you. The rest of us, what? There's a difference? Now we have, well, first there was GraphQL, which was awesome because you could set up an entire server that would give you this beautifully crafted, auto-generated, type-safe API. Then we realized that not every app needs a giant, beautifully crafted, type-safe API. So we have smaller things like tRPC, wonderful. And on building, well, I like TypeScript. Fun fact, JavaScript, ECMAScript modules have been ratified for almost a decade now, something like 7, 8 years. And it's only been the last couple of years that most apps have really started to move towards building in them. I believe the latest statistic is that 10% of NPM packages use ES modules pure and another 7 or something dual. If you don't know what ESM and CJS are, and I'm just speaking gibberish, it's okay. JavaScript just changed how we import and export file contents. And on top of those primitives, we build what I like to call glue. The things that bolt those primitives, that glue them together. So while UI frameworks like React provide ways to build your states, your UI, the frameworks that bundle those together and get built are also evolving and changing, like we saw with Astro and Remix. And then the glue for those kind of pushes them into the backend category because, well, these all get deployed on the server and actually have stateful server endpoints. Which means that the true backend parts, the ORMs like Prisma, the API layers like GraphQL and tRPC, they're getting higher in the stack to be able to support these richer client frameworks. And who here knows the difference between ISR, SSR, and SSG? How about PESPA, MEMPA? I made that last one up. Gotcha. They're all different ways of building apps. And here I'm starting to get fuzzy because I don't know where we're going, but I'm very excited about it. The stuff that glues together our glue, that really puts it to scale. The way you might, let's say, deploy a web app with Kubernetes or Terraform or the latest DevOps buzzword. These are all getting faster, more powerful, more scalable. We're able to deploy to the edge quickly and at scale. Amazing. And then for the backend scale, I don't know what's next. I know Fastify and Nest.js, not to be confused with Next, are big. And what I'm particularly excited for here is the final piece of the puzzle. What happens when we've somewhat more solved the backend server scaling and the front-end glue, frameworks like Remix and Next.js? Will we start seeing auto-generated sites the way Shopify seems to be moving to? I don't know. But I think in 10 years, it's going to be a very exciting time to be building a startup that makes a new website. I think we're going to see cleaner, more expressive deploys where you have to manage less of the cruft, the shenanigans of dealing with those things. And we're going to see cleaner, more expressive deploys in the back end. Sorry, I misspoke. More expressive stacks, more expressive deploys. So in summary for those two things, I think we're getting better primitives at the lower than glue scale, and we're getting fuller stacks, more deploys at the higher than glue scale. Let's recap. It's natural for us to miss the older, better days. I miss being a kid and just sitting on the armchair with my pet parakeet, Emerald. He was named Emerald because he was a medically obese parakeet. It was the cutest thing, giant belly, bright green, playing Game Boy with Pokemon and Mario. It's natural to miss that. Because the old days, well, we don't remember much about them, but we know we didn't have the problems we do now, and that's nice. But the old days had problems. I actually had a lot of anxiety as a kid, and no friends, which didn't help with the anxiety. Back in the day, we had to manually write our UIs. We had to use things like jQuery and Moment directly. So we shouldn't forget that we're growing and learning as an industry for a reason. We are learning how to build things better. We're learning, yes, JavaScript is hard to deal with. We can improve it, and we can add on stuff like TypeScript. And over time, these tools are getting better for us. TypeScript today is better than TypeScript in 2015, which is better than CoffeeScript in 2011. It's getting better. And what was difficult 10 years ago is much less difficult to do today. That stupid little demo I just showed you of the karaoke night thing, which didn't even work that well at Grok, I did that in a weekend, just for fun. I cleaned it up over the next few days after that weekend, but that's just like a toy project. But in 2010, even earlier than that, 2005, that would have been a whole investment with a team where we have to invest in server deploys and everything. So I think it's really exciting to be a developer now. All the things that I talked about are open source and online, everything from TypeScript to Koa. It bugs me that all of them have their own website except for networked A-frame. Irksome. I never really introduced myself. So the reason why I care about all these things is that I'm a full-time open source maintainer. I work in static analysis tooling around TypeScript. So every day I get to see the new and wacky ways people are writing code and how we can lint for that. I wrote a book learning TypeScript. I think it's pretty good. And the main project I work on, TypeScript ESLint, it's the tooling that lets you run standard JavaScript tools on TypeScript code. And we would love any contributions you can make, be them issues, pull requests, or, of course, money. Thank you very much, everyone. This has been fun.